So in my comment section, one of the biggest complaints I see from the GTA community is that GTA 6 won't be launching on PC. Now in today's video, I'm going to go through an article and add some of my own thoughts and opinions on why we won't be getting GTA 6 on PC for potentially a year after launch, maybe even longer. So Mike York is a former developer of Rockstar Games, and he actually did some of the animation stuff in GTA 5. This article from Gaming Bible goes into a little bit more information about why we won't be getting GTA 6 on PC right away. So the article starts off with the title, GTA 6 skipping PC at launch for one very simple reason, says ex-Rockstar developer. Mike York, a former animator for Rockstar Games, has spoken on the issue to IGN, and he confirms what everyone wondered. Rockstar like to focus primarily on PlayStation. Now not many people know this, but Rockstar have a direct deal with Sony. In fact, Xbox didn't even want Grand Theft Auto on their platform initially back in the early days.
A new idea from a small game publisher that had come to us and said, hey, we want to dust off one of the 2D games that we had done for PC. We're going to really invest in it. We think it's going to be really exciting.
And these newly important executives in Xbox who would review all the pitches from publishers and developers, they said, I don't think that game they're going to be able to make the transition from 2D to 3D.
They felt that it was complicated. They didn't really understand the user interface. They thought that it was based on a game that hadn't been all that successful. To my surprise, it was rejected.
And that game was called Grand Theft Auto 3.
It ended up selling 14.5 million units. It was the top-selling game of 2001 and would have been the top-selling game of 2002 if it wasn't beaten by its own sequel.
PlayStation have always been very supportive of Rockstar Games, and they've been building up a partnership for years. That's why every single gameplay trailer for all of Rockstar Games is always done on a PlayStation console. Also, the way that timings have worked over the years, PlayStation usually release next-gen consoles before Xbox do, and because they're usually around 6 months ahead of where Xbox is at any given point, PlayStation usually have developer kits ready way before Xbox do. Now this being said, Rockstar probably will have a dev kit for a future Xbox very soon, but all of the Grand Theft Auto games have always been way ahead of where the console generations were at that point in time, and this is something that Rockstar have struggled with for years. Mike York, amongst many of the developers, have mentioned in the past that GTA 5 was squeezed into the PlayStation 3. It was so hard to get that game to run on there and to optimize it to actually run smoothly because the PlayStation 3 just, for all intents and purposes, wasn't capable of running the game smoothly. Mike York then follows this up with, the reason why the PC port comes later and not the first thing that comes out is because they want to prioritize what sells. Now of course 10 years ago consoles were the largest market sector for gaming because they were just more stable, more accessible and cheaper than PCs. Coming into the release window, there's definitely a way larger market sector for PC gaming, but still there's a massive looming issue which will affect the development. Another thing to note from Mike is that PC ports are notoriously complex to develop, and it becomes a huge challenge because of the different architecture. Due to every PC being a little different from others, it's tough to get one game running uniformly well. This is why so many PC games receive countless patches, as each PC is updated and can spark a problem. Now this is something that I've actually spoken to a few games developers about on Discord. The amount of different hardware that you can buy for a gaming PC, and that being said as well, also bits of software that actually run on the gaming PCs, there's so many different variables. With PlayStations and with Xboxes, they're two large condensed sets of hardware which they can optimize for. With gaming PCs, the reality is with Grand Theft Auto potentially being as big as we think it's going to be in terms of the actual scale of the map and the complexity of the game, the actual PCs that will be able to run it will probably have to be extremely high end because different PCs prioritize different work rates. So for example, some people may prioritize frame rate, some people may prioritize graphics fidelity, and some people may have PCs that can run GTA 5 with mods, but it won't be able to run GTA 6. Rockstar need to actually establish the minimum criteria, and the only way they can do that is by doing a lot of bench testing on various PCs to figure out what is the minimum criteria to run this game. But for them to do that, they need to first finish the game. The game needs to be tested, any axed content needs to be cut from the game, everything needs to be polished, all the graphics needs to be polished. So that's not really a process that they can start until the game is completely polished and finished and potentially even out for release. Another thing to note is that when the game is released, there's going to be a lot of glitches, bugs and stuff like that. Now glitches and bugs that will appear on consoles will probably appear 10 times worse on PCs. That's mainly due to the open architecture of the way PC gaming works, which then brings us on to the next point. GTA Online. In the past, Rockstar Games have wanted people to experience GTA Online without people being able to cheat. Now, there are some anti-cheat systems they're putting in based on some of the AI patterns that we looked at in the past, but when it goes to PC, of course, as soon as it goes to PC, you're opening up the world to the modding capabilities, not just for story mode, but also for online. So Rockstar are going to want to A/B test and limit damage as much as they can for the PC version of the game. Now, another thing to note is even if the game would be ready for PC at the point of release, your PC that you have today probably might not run it. Now, I know some of you out there have some incredible builds that will probably run it absolutely fine, but gaming tech in the PC landscape changes all the time. Every year there's new graphics cards, new CPUs, and also new software to manage all of this hardware. So if Rockstar in December last year gave us a minimum requirement for PC specs to use on the game, when it comes to the game's release at the end of 2025, it'll probably be outdated hardware. Because there's two different categories here. There's PCs that can just about run GTA 6, and there's PCs that can run GTA 6 smoothly. Completely different things, and it's very much a linear sliding scale of everything in between. So what happens next? Well, firstly, Rockstar are going to finish the game and release it on consoles. Whilst the game is out, they're going to find out any glitches, bugs, and patch them. Make sure that the architecture for the game is stable on PCs. From that, they'll try and figure out a minimum requirement of which PCs it can work on, which builds it can't, and which builds it can. And then from there, they'll probably build in some infrastructure where you can adjust graphic fidelity, where you can adjust frame rates, so on and so forth. They'll probably build an interface where you can actually tailor your gaming experience to be more compatible with your PC. And the final thing I want to say is that obviously a lot of people that buy Grand Theft Auto on PC end up modding the game. Perfectly normal behaviour, and it's what's made the community so special, especially for the PC market. And Rockstar know that, and although Rockstar have gone head to head with modders in the past, it's very likely that Rockstar do want to support the story mode modding side of the community. However, if someone tries to mod the game and it completely bricks the game up, that looks bad on Rockstar, and it will make the community feel less engrossed with the game. So Rockstar actually need to build a game that can be modified and still run relatively absolutely fine. So that about covers everything for today's video. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing, and thank you all for watching.